Hello and welcome. This is Alchemistexe, and this is the weekly update for March 18th, and we are officially in version 9. So with that comes a few upgrades, like the World Raid feature, which is what I'm doing right now. Basically, everyone can fight this giant boss. It's only going to be every other day, the even numbered days of the week, but you can fight it as many times as you want to get these coins. You can buy stuff. We'll take a look at the shop in a little bit. But yeah, otherwise it's just a boss. You can auto it, you can manual it. It's going to take forever to kill because he's got like 700 billion health, something crazy like that, and it's a 30 turn count. So if you're not autoing it, I would definitely prioritize like buffing, debuffing, nuking, try and get some big numbers there. That's not super big, but it's when I'm autoing it, I don't care that much. It's really all about quantity rather than quality, and then you get some of these coins. I did it a little bit earlier because I really wanted the memento ticket and start getting some of the elemental shards as well. But yeah, so we just have another like a little less than 5 hours, and then you can't do it tomorrow, and then the 20th you can start again. So just do whatever you have time for. Try to get as many coins as you can. If you're lucky, you might rank high and get some of the other prizes. But yeah, let's take a look at the shop. Go away, Bazaar. There's nothing that mind-blowing in you right now, unless you really need Judith shards, but I don't recommend spending gems on that, as much as Judith is awesome. So yeah, here we are. So I didn't get a ton. I had 11 before, so each individual session, unless you're pumping out tons of damage, you're not going to get too much at once, but it costs 20 AP. The auto takes a few minutes, so again, quantity. But yeah, so I already bought the memento and the unit ticket, but there's also enlightenment stuff, rune-related stuff, robots, elemental shards, crystals, pretty much anything that characters need. Maybe don't recommend some of the stuff on the bottom unless you really need it or you have an overabundance of coins. And then speaking of coins, there are also a new setup with the Phantom Arena coins. And this is quite nice. If you're able to get enough of these, it's similar to the Arena coin shop that's old. However, there's actually some pretty good prizes in here too, like Relief Selector and Mementos. I'm a little confused though, because unless the rates of the coins go up much higher with the ranking, it seems like it'd be hard to get that many, a meaningful amount in 2 weeks. But I'm not gonna lie, I didn't read like all the arena text super carefully. But the basic arena UI is a little bit different now. I'm guessing that you can accumulate more as your rank goes up, and then you can also get extra bonuses for having consecutive wins. Like it gave me a few gems on my 5th and final battle for the day. So, but otherwise it's pretty similar to the old arena. I thought maybe they were going to phase out the old arena shop, but it's still there. So some of that remains to be seen. But let's move on to the challenge boards, because there's a good one in that you can get shards. Shards are always good for everyone. And then you can also get Bud for free, which may not be good for everyone, but he is an interesting unit. There's no one exactly like him. An HP scaler who can make himself unkillable like a berserker. There are a few really hard stages where having him was kind of handy just because he wouldn't die or his counter was the best way to kill something. So he's an interesting character, and now that he actually has the enlightenment that he deserves, more people might be able to get some use out of him. And then, in addition to him getting his gates, Judith also has an upgrade as well. Actually, darn it, we were just in the shop. Should have focused in on it there. I haven't done the event yet, but much like all of the other recent job pluses, it's the same thing. You do the levels, get the coins, and then buy the tokens and all of these equips, and then you got yourself a job plus. I definitely recommend, if you don't have Judith, to farm her out and transmute her and start raising her, because she's really, really good for being a Thunder support, because Thunder has some heavy hitters like Gerald, and the buff that she can do is just all damage for a Thunder unit, and that is just universally really good. She can also do stat transfer, and those can be very nice to have as well. Let's see, where is it? So yeah, she is not even an EX character either. You can just do her level. Oh, I already did it today, but it's just a normal 3 times a day. So pretty easy to get, even if you have to be a little bit patient to get it. So otherwise, that's kind of the main meat of the week is the Judith event and the World Raid. But if you'd like to get some extra shards of characters in addition to some other prizes, and it's part of the challenge board, there's this version 9 quest. It's pretty similar to the other celebration quest where it's like a forced setup and it's pretty much zero effort. I got some Morrigan shards in it, so it's more, they only show you like normal pool units, but I'm guessing it's normal pool plus global. I've never seen any non-global limiteds in any of these types of stages, but I'm just happy that the global units are in there too, so you at least have a chance of something a little good. In addition, that we're also getting global units for free, or global unit shards for free each day. That's always good. It really helps mitigate the fact that they can be kind of a pain to raise. And then just a quick reminder, there's one more week for this Kasumi quest and the Kasumi challenge board. So I recommend getting Kasumi as capped out as you can. The 300 shards we got from the login bonus is going to get most of the job done, but maybe not all. And if you want to have her fully enlightened, make sure you do that while it's still available. And then Ank's Job Plus as well lasts for another week. Figured I should start giving little reminders about what's ending in addition to what's starting, because sometimes it's good to not miss out on something, especially with these holiday-related ones, because sometimes it can be a long time before they rerun. But yeah, that is it for the content overall. So yeah, let's move on to the banners. Okay, let's talk banners. So we've got 4 paid banners this week, and I don't know if there's going to be more on the weekend, but that's already quite a bit. So the first thing about these first 2 is that they're functionally very similar. You get either 3 limited units or 3 limited mementos, and in a bonus rainbow shards or bonus relief selector. It could be alright, depends on what your needs are. The more limited things that you're missing, the more worthwhile it would be. I'd say, say you really wanted to do one, but you weren't sure which one to do. For me, the favor points towards the memento one just a little bit, because I think relief selector is more valuable than the 50 rainbow shards, and you can transmute limited units a lot of the time. There's no equivalent for that for limited mementos, so I would keep that in mind if you're deciding to do that. I'd say it's definitely something of a risk, especially the memento one. I looked at the pool, and there's 79 total. The ones I would be kind of happy to get numbered about 29, somewhere in that range. It ended up equaling to about like 35% of the pool. So to me, I might actually pull on that, just because there's a few limiteds that I really want, especially the Sprite one, but there's quite a few others that could affect whether or not I raise a unit, and it's good content. The other 2, I'm just going to say flat out I don't recommend them. This one, because you could have a bad roll and then that's that. And there's no even like consolation prize like a relief selector. And then this one is actually a pretty good banner in a vacuum, because I think all of these mementos are good with the possible exception of Rochelle. And I only say that because maybe a lot of people don't have Rochelle. But like Fury, 100%, Zahar, Spica, Glans, Bud, Judith, all Ewan. I use Ewan as well. All great, but they're all normal pool, and so you could just do this, get one, maybe the one that you want the least, and then nothing else, and then all you've got is a relief that maybe not isn't useful to you. So if this were like a regular banner, I'd say I'd have a higher opinion of it, but I'm not. Some of these mementos have to mean a lot to you in order for it to be worth real money. Like real money for limited mementos is kind of a different thing for me, but that's where I stand on the paid. Oh, and then before I continue, the 2 new things this week in terms of what you can summon for are Bud's Memento and Judith's Memento, and they are both normal pool. So I know normal pool is harder to get than it used to be because we just seem to not get selectors anymore. And even if we do, apparently they won't be updated. I'm also really disappointed in the shop/prizes for version 9. It's like barely even a celebration. But yeah, anyway, tangent over. I don't recommend this at all. You can transmute both of these units. One of them's literally on a challenge board, and Bashini, you could get him pretty easily via transmute as well. Not worth your gems in the slightest. And even the coins, like what would you even buy with the coins? It's silly. 500 if you're brand new. Otherwise, this is a useless banner. Now we come to something kind of interesting. So this is 333 gems. Every day the number of steps increases. So it goes from 1 to 9. I wouldn't recommend anyone go full on this because that could be a lot of gems. But depending on where you are, especially where you are on mementos, because you have, got a 5% chance of getting a 5-star memento in addition to the units. Normal pool units are much easier to get than the mementos. But for how cheap it is, you could do one of these every day and the total cost to be less than one full price step on a summon. So if you're getting to the point where I am, at least, where there's starting to be a lot of normal pool mementos that you don't have or that you want, like I could list, Ewan, Zahar, Spica, now add Bud to that list. It goes on and on. So this might be an okay way to take a shot at some normal pool mementos that's fairly cheap. But I don't recommend doing every single step. Next up, we've got a limit break festival, but there are limited units on it. And luckily, it's got 5-star guarantees, which I think helps these banners out quite a bit. And if you happen to have 2 discount tickets, 4 steps here could be a good way to try and round out your collection, especially if you are free to play. If you're free to play, this is probably the best way to get limited units because they're all in the pool. You've got 5-star guarantee, and that helps your chances out a lot. And it's not that expensive. I think I'll probably do 2 steps here. Probably 2 steps here, 1 step of that 333 one, and then the limited memento grand summon, and that'll probably be the summoning portion for the day. Oh, but finally we have a 9-step that has the 2 new mementos in addition to a memento that probably nobody wants anymore because Victor's is really old and not a lot of people use Victor, although he is very, very, very dodgy. And then Bashini's first memento, which is actually pretty good. Sometimes even having Sullied Blade of Justice is more useful than his more modern memento. If you really want one of these, you can go for it. But they're normal pool, so I think you'd have to really like it. And then everything else is old. Actually, I never even looked at the gear summon. Oh, it's the same one as before. Never mind, not worth it. So that is it for the banners. So it can be definitely a good week to save if you want, or maybe throw in for that limit break festival if you want to try and round out your collection. Otherwise, there's nothing super crazy going on. Just a couple of normal pool mementos. And with that, let's move on to the summoning portion. Alright, let's get started with this banner, just because the stakes are the lowest. So, let's take a roll and see what we get. And actually, I'm live this time, in terms of the recording. So, this is my on-the-spot reaction. Because I don't have the excuse of being far away from home for a long time. Yellow circle. And there's no yellow mementos. So we're going to go ahead and skip this. Because even if one of those units turns red, it's not going to be that great. And it didn't anyway. So that's probably what most results are going to be. But it is cheap. So can't really argue with that. Okay, and then now we'll do 2 steps of this one. Because I'm not super invested in the rest of the month. Now that the Genesis stuff is over. So I'll probably just kind of use my discount tickets on a whim without any kind of game plan. My ears will perk up next monthly update when it shows like a Templar event. But until then, be a little bit more relaxed. So wait, we got the 1 guarantee and then all yellows. Shayna. Well, that's not so great. Shall we see if any of these reds change? I have my doubts. I can't say that every single experience of this has been bad, but I can say that most of them have. My favorite is when it changes, but then it's like something not that great. And you're just like, well, that was anticlimactic. It's like, I changed, and now it's it's like Teona or someone. Not that Teona is bad, but just someone had farmed out forever. Okay, so yeah, not too great there. The 100 shards is kind of nice, though. If you're really lucky, that could pay off in a lovely way. Could easily end up capping out a gate. Alright, what is step 2 going to bring us? First question, will there be more than one red? The answer appears to be no. Well, actually, perhaps not. Hey, it's Berta. This game really wants me to use her. If I didn't have her gate 6, I'd probably have it now. The only thing it didn't give me was her swimsuit memento. But other than that, game's been throwing out Berta stuff at me for kind of a long time. Which was really handy when we had that hell level with all the panels and you needed to get the snowman on the panels, because you can probably guess how I solved that. I think we'll just try and blitz our way through the rest of this. Okay, yeah, that was that. Well, I mean, not terrible. She is a limited unit, albeit a very, very niche one. Alright, now let's move on to the grand finale here. And see what we get for the limiteds. I swear, I imagine the amount that I spend on this game ever since I started making videos for it has to have gone up. Because sometimes like that'll tip the scales and be like, oh, well, if I get something cool that makes good content. How long before I can use it as a tax write-off is a real question. Adelaide. Ah, dang. I have that one max limit broken already. I used reliefs because I just kept getting Celestine reliefs. Ooh, don't have that one max limit break, then I want to. Because Emrys, in my opinion, is one of the best units in the game. That's one step closer. I might just relief it all the way. Another Dark Julia. It'd be cool if I had her. But, still. So nothing too amazing, but not terrible either. And it's looking like I might be using that relief selector to get a Lustberg relief. But yeah, so hopefully all of you have good luck on your summons too, and I will see you all next time.